The United Kingdom is no stranger to religious extremism. History, it seems, has a way of repeating itself. The threat of extremism is ever present. It's a subject that was debated at the House of Commons by an all-party parliamentary group. The Ahmadiyya Muslim Association organised the event called Murder in the Name of God.
For a long time, traditions of anti-Semitism persisted in this country and remained a real problem. But on the whole, we've been pretty successful in dealing with it and marginalising it to the ranks of the odd, the bizarre, and frankly the no-hopers on the fringes of society. So it's a bit of a challenge for us to suddenly find us confronting it in a new form. And I have to say, and I think we have to acknowledge this, although politicians like to stress it's a tiny minority, which it is in its most absolute sense, I have to say my own experience is the tiny minority is surrounded by a bigger group of individuals who are certainly not willing to speak up against it.
The panel was made up of highly respected experts on extremism.
Why do some apparently well-integrated youth become attracted to extremist views, and specifically, how are they influenced? Well, in terms of recent trends, the key thing to consider here in the years since 9/11 is the westernization of Al-Qaeda ideology, in the first instance, and strategy, which I'll come to in a moment. That is not to say the ideology in inception has changed, or that the roots are different than what we previously understood, and it's not a Western ideology per se, but it has been intentionally and directly made more relevant to Muslims living in the West and directed to them. That has been called the al-Suri strategy, or more recently it's associated with the figure of Anwar al-Awlaki, who I think is becoming increasingly prominent on our consciousness.
The seminar was held on the anniversary of a suicide attack on 2 mosques in Lahore in Pakistan. More than 80 Ahmadiyya Muslims were murdered during Friday prayers. There have been countless incidents where members of other minority groups like Hindus, Sikhs and Christians have been persecuted. Men, women and children have been killed, their homes burnt, their places of worship desecrated, all in the name of religion. Sam Zarifi from Amnesty International has lived in Pakistan, where 2 high-profile figures were recently assassinated. Thousands of people are still mourning the deaths of Shahbaz Bhatti, who was Minister for Minorities, and Salman Taseer, the former governor of Punjab. Although the country is racked with violence, Mr. Zarifi remains optimistic about its future.
There was a declaration that the government would begin to look at the issue of religious discrimination, that the government would start looking at the very problematic blasphemy laws, which are not just problematic on their face, because blasphemy laws are discriminatory and as such stand against international law, but of course in Pakistan this law is very poorly conceived.